In this lesson, we're going to create the control knobs for our remote. Alright, so we've blocked out the main shape of our remote, and let's go to our front view, and we're going to do just like we did with the screw for the remote control car. We have the issue of creating a spherical type of shape, but we want to create a cutout for the path of the control knob to actually move. And we have an issue with that topology. So we're going to do just like we did before, where we create a box, and I'm going to use the cube creation method. And let's use AutoGrid and create that right along the surface of our remote. And we'll do something kind of like this. And then we're going to apply a Turbo Smooth modifier to this. So I'm actually going to change the length, width, and height to 20 on all of this, just to make it nice and even for right now. And I'm going to go to my left view, hitting L on the keyboard, and then I'm going to hit Z to zoom in on that, just to make sure that it's right on my surface of my remote. And then let's go ahead and apply Turbo Smooth. So let's apply that there, and there we go. And I'm going to bump up my iterations for this, and I'm going to go to, I'm thinking maybe 2. Let's just go ahead and do 2 for right now, and then we're going to convert that to editable poly. Now you want to make sure that your isoline display is turned off before you convert that, okay? Because if you have it turned on and you convert that to editable poly, it's going to create something like this. It doesn't understand how to create that. So turn that off, right-click, convert to editable poly, and you'll have that same topology. Let's go ahead and go to polygon mode, and let's select the back half of this and just delete it because we don't necessarily need it at this point. I'm also going to center my pivot to this object, and then push that right up against my remote. Alright, so now that we have this, let's go ahead and create that topology that we need for this. So going to polygon mode, I'm going to go ahead and take these polygons right here, and I'm going to inset that, and then with that inset we're going to extrude that back. Okay, and we'll just extrude that straight back there, just like we did with the screw head there, and then we'll hit OK. Now I want to flatten that out, and I'm going to use my scale tool, and I'm going to do that by converting my polygon selection to vertex selection, and then grab my scale tool and scale that in the Y. So that way it's going to make that set of polygons that I had selected nice and flat. Okay. So now that I have that, let's go to our front view, and let's do a little bit of work on the overall path that we have here. As you can see, it's not very straight. So I'm going to come in and take these polygons. I'm just going to scale those apart and try to get this to be a little bit cleaner. So I'm going to leave that center one alone, and we'll take these, pull that apart there, and that looks pretty good. Alright, so now that I have this, let's apply our Turbo Smooth to that, just to smooth it out. Okay, that looks pretty good. Happy with that so far. We may want to turn on isoline display and then also apply some swift loops in some of these areas just to kind of tighten up that area a little bit more. Okay, so that looks good. We have our first portion of our control knob, and we could go ahead and make a copy of that, but I'm going to wait until I've actually created the control stick. So with this, let's go to our create panel and cylinder, and in our front view I'm going to create a cylinder right here in the middle. So left click and drag that out about the width of that slot, and then we're going to drag out our height. Let's go ahead and go to our perspective view just to kind of see what that looks like. I'm going to leave it just the way it is for right now. Let's convert it to editable poly, and let's take the polygon mode at the end. Let's pull that out for our length that we want. Alright, so that looks pretty good to me. I want to scale that in just a little bit more along the X and Y, just to make that a little thinner. And then let's go ahead and get rid of the polygon that's along the back side. So I'm going to hit F3. And I don't need this polygon right here, so we're just going to make sure that we get rid of it. So let's add some segments for this. So I'm going to go to Swift Loop and I'm going to add one right here, and here, and then also right here. I'm going to take these polygons right here. So select one, hold shift, and select the next. Same thing here. So I'm going to hold down control, then hold shift, and then I'm going to extrude those out in their local normal direction. Take that amount down, and we create kind of these little grooves that we see on our knob here. Now with just these polygons selected, I'm going to scale those in, create kind of a beveled edge, and then also scale those down to make it a little smaller than the main part of our controller. Now I'm going to adjust the positioning of that, so I'm going to grow my selection and then grab my move tool and move that down in the Y. Let's also take this set of edges right here. So double click on that, and I'm going to pull that down just to kind of bevel that shape. That looks good. Let's take this polygon right here, and I'm going to extrude that in, create kind of just a little bit of a dimple on the end of that. And then let's apply a turbo smooth to this. So that rounds out. Let's turn on isoline display, and I'm going to use the swift loop tool to retain my volume. Let's turn on edge mode by hitting 2 on the keyboard. And I'm going to add some segments on each side of those just to make sure that that's nice and tight there. And do it on the end there. And then also on the very end, let's make 2 loops, and then on the inside, let's hit Z so we can zoom in on that a little bit closer. Inside and outside. There we go. Now if you want to take care of your topology on the inside of this, let's turn off our turbo smooth. I'm just going to click on that light bulb to turn it off. And then let's select this vertex right here and this vertex, and we're going to connect to that. And then I'm going to cut from this vertex at the top right down to the middle right here. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to get a better angle for this one and cut right to the middle. And there we go. So now if I use turbo smooth, that retains its volume a little bit better, and we've also taken care of our topology. So everything is looking really good here. I'm pretty happy with that shape. I might want to take this a little bit closer to kind of tighten up some of those creases there. So just kind of move those a little bit closer to the edges. And there we go. So nice control stick that we've created there. If I want, I could take both of those, and I might scale those up a little bit more. I'll scale them up in all 3 directions just a little bit, just to make that a little bit bigger there. Let me move that out some. And there we go. And now what I want to do is I want to make a duplicate of that, so I'm going to hold down Shift, duplicate that, make it a copy, hit OK, and then we'll rotate that 90 degrees. And there we go. So there we have our control sticks for our remote. And in your front view, you may want to check to make sure that they're evenly spaced. So I'm just kind of looking at the spacing from here to here on both sides there. All right, so let's select all of those, change their color and material. And there we go. So now we have our control knobs. Everything is looking good so far. And now we want to start getting into the surface details of our remote. So we're going to create kind of a few designs that kind of go around this. We're going to use the polygonal modeling tools. So the polygon modeling tools here from the graphite modeling tools. And we'll just create some detail and really finish up this remote. And then we'll be pretty close to finishing up this course. So I'll see you in the next lesson.